former NFL offensive lineman Ross Tucker with his thoughts on why Andrew Berry remained the general manager of the Browns.
Once you're an actual GM, you have a track record, and all of these guys have batting averages. And for the most part, like even you guys in Cleveland, for the most part, like Andrew Berry's approval rating is not good. I know that from talking with you guys, with Browns fans, because fans don't really remember that much about the positive moves. What really sticks in their brain is the negative moves. Coaches, on the other hand, like Harbaugh, like Stefanski, like Saleh, they are more likely to get a second chance. The reason why the GM doesn't get fired as often as the head coach is because the GM is the guy sitting next to the owner during the games. And so when you're watching the game, a lot of these owners are not football people. So if you're sitting right next to the owner during the game and this play happens or that play happens, it's real easy to say when someone does something well, see, he's got the talent. If we could just get it out of him, if we just get it out of him, or to point out when, a move is made that during the game that perhaps hurts the team or costs the team. Whereas when someone plays well, you can say, yeah, man, I knew it. I knew it, boss. When we got him in the 5th round, I just had a feeling.
The other thing, with Paul DePodesta moving on, it kind of left a vacuum.
Well, I mean, and it's always funny because I think maybe some people who were always so against Paul DePodesta are maybe starting to understand, maybe what his role is. And, this is a guy where basically, when Andrew was ready to go to work, Paul D would already had the list. These are the guys you absolutely need to talk to. We have gone through this every which way, up, down, left, right. We have dotted every T and crossed every I. Telling you, these are the guys you need to get in touch with. And look, to be fair, at this point in his career, Andrew Berry doesn't necessarily need the help. He doesn't need somebody to do it for him. I think there is some validity to what Ross Tucker said there.
Yep.
Because, go back to the Pittsburgh game, right? The really bad interception Shador threw, right? So, you're sitting there as Andrew Berry, and you're talking with Jimmy and going, oh, see, that's something there that got him into the 5th round. But then there's other times you're sitting next to him, hey, those couple of throws, that's why he shouldn't have gone in the 5th round. So all of a sudden it's like, well, yes, I think a GM can get the owner's ear a little bit more necessarily than the head coach. I think, and I think that most of us feel the same way, that it just became that an unacceptable number of wins and losses over the last 2 seasons for Kevin Stefanski. And unfortunately, Andrew Berry does not wear that record. Unfortunately, Jimmy Haslam does not wear that record. Kevin Stefanski wore that record. And as much, look, I've been guilty of being called a Kevin Stefanski homer, and I have no problem with it. I thought he was a good coach. I thought he was a good man. I thought at times he just didn't necessarily have the horses, which I think is what he's kind of proven to everybody right now, that he believes he didn't have the horses. It wasn't necessarily what he and his guys were doing. This is why I kind of stressed, maybe don't do this. Maybe, build this up a little bit more. And if you have a team where you think the rooms and the positional groups are a little bit more respectable and then they're underachieving, hey, man, I gave you every opportunity I could. You got to go now. But what's done is done. And, they got to hope somehow, some way, let's get through this Rooney Rule first, which, and I know that was coming. The thing is, and this is the worst part, I think, of the Rooney Rule is if you want to hire a Rooney Rule candidate, for some reason, you still have to interview another one. It's absolute nonsense, in my opinion, to do it that way. I understand the rule. I respect the rule. The rule has opened a lot of doors for a lot of guys over the years. But if you're going to hire a minority, there is no reason that I should have to waste my time interviewing another minority who in no way, shape, or form is going to get the job. But this is where they are. And, something is going to have to come of this. And, if it is Jim, okay, then Sheila's going to come in on Monday to satisfy the rule, perhaps. Maybe you're hoping one of these guys would maybe take the offensive coordinator, assistant head coach type of thing. I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to happen. But then even still, you got to go yank somebody and bring him in for an interview. That will be absolute waste of everyone's time because he will satisfy the Rooney Rule and have literally zero chance to get the head coaching job for the Cleveland Browns.